You have the ball and the gall to stand up here in front of everybody. I'm over.
Brett, what was it that you said?
I said and got arrested for saying
Who are you speaking to when you said that?
Cowardice.
Hey, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? That man was Brett Cross. His son was a victim in the horrible Uvalde tragedy that happened at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. I know you all remember that. Well, he has been a very verbal and outspoken citizen and concerned parent ever since that tragedy happened. More outspoken than other parents and people. And they are tired of his free speech and want to shut him up. They want to shut him up so bad they are willing to arrest him at a county commissioners meeting, which is what just happened, and I'm going to show the rest of it. But he was addressing his speech towards one of the county commissioners who was the acting police chief during the tragedy, and evidence showed that he stood around and did nothing and retreated when kids needed his help. But like I said, he has been very outspoken since the tragedy. Here's a little clip of him speaking about his disgust with politicians before he went to the meeting and got arrested. Let me show you that clip, and then I'm going to show you what he said at the meeting to get him arrested.
Although there isn't every name of the officers that were there so that we can hold them accountable, because we have to do our own digging most of the time, there are names that are named. And it is time, because our community is so divided because of this, because they don't want to believe that the people that they grew up with failed our children and they stand against us. I'm hoping that they read this and they see Johnny Phil's name, or Mariano Pargas's, who is a county commissioner right now, or Constable Zamora, who is running for re-election. There are names in there, and the community needs to see this, and y'all need, because the DOJ stamp is on there, maybe y'all will start taking us seriously now, instead of telling us to move on, telling us to sweep it under the rug, and not doing a damn thing about it. We need our community. It's hard enough waking up every day and continuing to walk out on these streets and walk to an HEB or drive to an HEB and see a cop that you know was standing there while our babies were murdered and bleeding out. It's hard enough that. But this community doesn't care, and I hope this makes y'all. I also hope that this lights a fire up under the district attorney's ass, because we know that she has not done a damn thing.
Because I cannot pronounce this county commissioner's name, who was the previous police chief, I am going to show a little clip of one of the news anchors pronouncing his name correctly in his title.
Brett Cross directed those comments at Commissioner Mariano Pargas, who served as acting Uvalde police chief the day of that shooting.
First, I would just like to say because that's the least that anybody can do. Also, I'd like to say, how is it that Mr. Ferguson have a motion to approve minutes when he hasn't been here in the past 2 months? This is his first time showing up in all of 2024. This should show up like we do for our kids, huh? And I know when you try to shut me down, this has everything to do with payroll, because our taxes are paying the man's salary who refuses to do anything. You couldn't show up for the last 3. You couldn't show up and see the children who survived. And it's kind of funny that when you do survive, why are you surrounded by cops? Because the last few times I've been here, your ass hasn't. What they think? Were you scared of? And I just find it really funny. You want to sit there and you want to try to meme up and everything, like you're not bad. We already seen that. We already saw that when we got a phone call that there were 8 to 9 students still alive in that classroom, and you walk the fuck away. All right, you want to speak? Watch your language. My child is fucking dead. Dead! And you have the ball and the ball to stand up here in front of everybody. No, I'm on my arrest. Let's do this.
Why are you arresting him when that piece of shit right there?
Yeah.
Fucking he stood in the fucking hallway. Fuck that piece of shit.
Get it out. Not right because I've got time to be followed in this court.
everything that I do is to make sure that the world remembers my son, you know? And so to do that, we also have to advocate so that no other parent has to go through what we do. So if one of these pictures resonates with somebody and they feel that gut punch, and it encourages them to get up and fight so that it's not their child that is murdered, or it's not their mother that is murdered, or anything like that, then I think it's a good idea.
Here's my final thoughts on the whole situation. These politicians and cops need to be put in jail and stripped of their powers immediately for violating this man's rights, his freedom of speech, and kidnapping him and locking him in a cage. Our forefathers wrote in the Constitution, violating someone's rights can be penalized up to the death penalty. And nowadays, there is no consequences for these public officials whatsoever. The only recourse of action us citizens have nowadays is to sue them, and then that comes out of the taxpayers' pockets also.
Kids, remember, you can get murdered and nobody will care, but as soon as you say the word people lose their mind.
My regards go out to all the families who had victims in that tragedy. And after something like that happens, a lot of people can come to a lot of drastic decisions and ideas and, gun control. And I just think that's a bad idea. You can't start stripping away people's First and Second Amendments because other people abuse them. What they should do is make school zones not gun free, and they should arm the teachers. That's what they should do. That would have reduced what happened quickly, because the teachers, in my opinion, would be much more braver than the Uvalde Police Department. Much more braver. I would feel way more secure with my kid in a school if the teachers were armed, and take the armed police cops out of the schools. Also, you have countries that do have gun control and don't have guns, and these people that want to commit these crimes, they do it in other ways. If you make up your mind that you're going to commit a horrible tragedy like this, it doesn't matter if you don't have access to guns. You'll start a fire, or you'll create a bomb, or you'll, go in there with a machete, knives. It doesn't matter. It's not the gun's fault. It's the sick people. It's the criminals. And another thing, if you take the guns off the street, only the law-abiding citizens are going to be defenseless without guns. The criminals don't follow the laws. They're still going to have the guns, and then law-abiding citizens won't be able to defend themselves. That's just my thoughts. That's my opinions. I know everybody has their opinions, but we can't start stripping away First and Second Amendment rights because we don't like what other people say or what other people do with them. Remember, these amendments were to help keep our government in check. Okay? If we want to keep other citizens and our neighbors in checks, then everybody needs to have a gun. That's my opinion.